please step up to the line. You have the right to remain silent and not answer any questions. Any statement you make must be freely and voluntarily given. You have the right to the presence of a lawyer of your own choice before you make any statement or during any questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, you are entitled to have the presence of a court-appointed lawyer before you make any statement or during any questioning. If at any time during the interview you do not wish to answer any questions, you are privileged to remain silent.
The world is black,
the world is white. It turns by day and then by night.
A child is black,
a child is white. Together they grow to see the light, to see the light.
Damn! All the wetbacks, fangos, cocks, docks, chinks, faggots, ragheads, camel jockeys, jungle bunnies, Jew boys, slant eyes, buck pirates, bean eaters, spicks, spades, gooks, queers, yaps, wops, cops, polacks, moon crickets, mud people, jigs, a sissy French, moolies, adulterers, pedophiles, liberals, baby killers, white race traitors, and most of all, those lazy ass welfare living off the white man niggers. Whoa! These people are crazy. I know what you're thinking. What's wrong with this picture? Believe me, I'm just as confused as you are. Imagine me trying to explain this. Me, the friendly neighborhood black Mexican, Riri Hernandez Flores Jackson III, arrested at a Ku Klux Klan march. You know, I really didn't think it was going to get that violent at all. I mean, when I think about it now, I know I underestimated the explosive possibilities of hate. I mean, when you squeeze that much hatred into one city block, there's no way to prevent an incident. You see, I'm a graduate enrolled in Harvard, and I'm going for my doctorate in psychology, and I want to see what made these people tick. So I had this brilliant idea. I'll be a visionary. I'd write a thesis, figure this whole thing out, and change the world. So I went undercover, literally. I infiltrated the Klan and got as close as I could without having to take off my sheet. A sheet for $12.95 at Sears. I became a card-carrying member of the Invisible Empire. And the crazy thing is, they love me! The Imperial Wizard has a beautiful blonde-haired daughter who can't keep her hands off my black ass, you know what I'm saying? She actually asked me to send her back to Africa dance. But of course, I had to take off my mask, so I took a rain check. Just yesterday, her father told me I'd be an excellent Grand Dragon. Can you believe that? A Grand Dragon! What a knucklehead. You see, they only knew me for my insides, so they accepted me. So anyway, I was at the rally, way back in the back, minding my own business, with all these rednecks saying the most vile and hateful things I've ever heard in my entire life. You got this guy on the right waving the Confederate flag, got this guy on the left saying, Jesus told me to kill all the chocolate drops. And you listen to this, and you're just completely shocked. I felt like I was in a real-life Jerry Springer episode. And through all this chaos, I see three black guys run up on me. It's like, you hokey son of a bitch, boo-ha! I'm like, whoa, hey, man, hey, I'm one of you, man. I'm not one of them. I'm one of you. Hey, Pookie, man. It's me, Riri, man. What you doing, bro? You see, they too thought I was something that I wasn't. Just because the way I was dressed and what the people around me were saying. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like the Klan. In fact, when you get down to it, I think most of them are just a bunch of Jethro Bodines. But like them or not, and this is the really hard part, I had to defend their inalienable right to freedom of speech. Guess hate can work both ways if you don't take the time to see things through. Hey, wow, I had to write this down. This is gonna make a great thesis. But I get an A. You know, when we all get together, there is no hate.
Okay, class. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, Z?
Look, I'll be honest with you, okay? I did drink a little bit tonight, but not enough for me to be here. I mean, this is ridiculous. What am I, a half decimal point off? God, I'm fine, really. I mean, the whole reason I was driving in the middle of the road was to protect the animals. Gee, yeah, I know it's strange. Here, let me explain it, okay? You see, where I live, there's lots of trees on each side of the road. And animals are shooting out all the time, you know, possums, and skunks, and sometimes even deer. And that can be dangerous. And not to mention, gross and expensive. Have you ever hit a skunk? No? Well, let me tell you, that's an experience you will treasure for life. I hit one once and nearly had to sell my car. But it's funny, because you see, I'm from the Midwest. And when I was a kid, I sort of liked the smell of a skunk. I know it's weird, and I can't explain why. Because see, everybody, whenever they smelled one, they'd act like they couldn't breathe at all. Like somebody cut a real big one. But me, I used to just take a big whiff and enjoy it. It had a homey smell. And it made me feel sort of safe. You know, like in the car, in the country, riding between your mom and dad. Of course, that's not what you go around telling people, that you like the smell of a skunk. I mean, that's unacceptable. And of course, I'm talking about the smell of a skunk from a great distance. Because man, oh man, if you actually hit one, that is a whole different ballgame. And I've tried it all. A gallon of tomato juice, the V8 juice, the Lysol, the little cardboard pine trees. Nothing worked. I even rolled the windows down and drove that car 100 miles to air it out. Still there. You can smell it 6 months later. And I tell you what, it's real difficult to take business clients out for lunch with that in the car. I mean, they look at me like I did it. Like it was me. I mean, I'd say, hey, don't mind the odor. It's a skunk. Well, it did tend to put them off their appetite. But you can see now why I'm extra careful. And that's why instead of driving on the side of the road, I always drive in the middle of the road. And that way I have better periphery. Periphery. Whatever. That way I have more time to react. And that's the truth. And that's the whole reason I did it. But if you want to know why I'm really here and not at home right now, it's because of that other cop. Yeah, you know, the one with the mustache. He doesn't think I know the alphabet. Well, that's a load of crap, because he wouldn't let me sing it. I mean, that's how I learned the alphabet, was by singing it, not saying it. Who the hell can just say it? God. God. Look, pal, I've got a college degree. I own my own business. And I know that effing alphabet! Oh, I get it. This is just a big game to you people, isn't it? Yeah. You know, instead of going out and convicting rapists and drug dealers and murderers, you happen to capture a person that doesn't know his ABCs. Ooh, what a crime. What a crime! What? What do you mean I killed somebody? Oh, God.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the telephone rings and your heart starts to sing, that's amore. Bells will ring, ting-a-ling-a-ling.
Self-defense. Plain and simple, self-defense. You go out and deliver a few pizzas in my area. Do it for about a week. You'll see, it's a dangerous job. Yes, delivering pizzas. Granted, it's not company policy to carry a gun, but I've had it. Mugging your neighborhood pizza man is a common thing, and people don't even realize it. Why do you think our drivers carry under $20 is written on the box? Yeah, it's right there on the box. Check it out the next time you get a pizza delivered. It's there. Oh, come on. Everybody's had our pizza delivered. If you haven't, you aren't from this planet. Here? Oh, you don't need to waste your film on me. I know that my picture's just gonna end up in the circular file anyway. It's funny, you know, when I first took this job, I was too embarrassed to tell anyone about it. It's kind of like the end of the rope type job. Well, at least that's what I used to think. I mean, I don't plan on making a career out of this or anything, but now with the way things are, it's better than nothing, and you gotta have something, because unemployment, it just doesn't cut it. You try living on $2.10 a week. Times are tough. Jobs are hard to find, and I finally had to take what I could get. So here I am. Da-da-da-da! I'm pizza girl. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, well, I really shouldn't joke. But it's odd, you know. After being there a while, I quit being embarrassed about it. Listen, there are some people there that are making an honest-to-God living. They're supporting families, kids in college, the whole 9 yards. Luis Martinez, he's got a kid at Washington University, pre-med. All right, sure, they don't all speak a lot of English. Now, the first month I was working there, I felt like I was at the UN. But you know what? They're getting by. They're surviving. They aren't complaining about it. And there's something to be said for that, in my opinion. And I say that because I used to be that kid in college that looked down their nose at the pizza delivery guy or the raghead at the 7-Eleven. God, that's just not right. I mean, they're doing what they can do, And they're providing a service. Hey, you get your pizza on time, don't you? Oh, all right, well, most of the time. God forbid you don't. Boy, people sure do raise hell if you're a couple of minutes late. I've actually had people waiting at their front doors with stopwatches. And you guys are no help. We know you lay low for us. We've got a 30-minute time limit, so you think that we drive like bats out of hell everywhere we go. Our area is only 5 square miles. I could go and get a French manicure and a cup of coffee at your favorite little donut shop and still be on time 99% of the time. Yes, driving the speed limit. God, but you know what? That's my point. Because if you guys really knew what we need you to watch out for us, things like tonight wouldn't happen and I wouldn't be here. Have you ever heard of Tut Van Woo? Gustavo Enriquez? Jenny Craig? No, not the diet lady. They're all drivers at my store. Well, the next time you guys decide to set up a speed trap for us, why don't you think about them? Tut Van Woo has been held up at gunpoint 3 times this year. Gustavo Enriquez, badly beaten, a concussion, and 3 broken ribs. And Jenny Craig, her car has been stolen at gunpoint at 4 in the afternoon. All delivering pizzas. Where were you? And those? Yeah, well, those are only the highlight reels. 8 out of 11 of our drivers have been robbed with a deadly weapon. I knew it was only a matter of time, so I decided I was going to carry a gun. Don't you see the plan? No. Well, let me spell it out for you. Junkie needs a fix. A rock, a crack. It costs $20. $20! Ring any bells? Why go out and rob somebody when you can pick up the phone, dial our number, and have the robbie go anywhere you want them to? We deliver. They end up getting a fix and something to eat in the bargain. Look, I'm trying to tell you, it's common. It is commonplace, like tonight. Look, I was taking 2 pies. 16645. Pershing Way, apartment 114. Go to bed. That's what it said on the box, and that's how it burned in my brain. When I pulled up to the building, it really didn't look that bad. There were these kids, and when I got out of the car, they were playing football with this Nerf football underneath streetlights, and they yelled, "Pizza, pizza." I don't know why. Kids just always seem to get excited when you show up with pizza, like you're some comic book hero or something. But anyway, I got out of the car and I took the 2 pies. And I went through the front gate, and there was this long courtyard, and there was a pool on my right, and these evergreen bushes that lined both sides of the wall. So I walked. And then there were these guys, these 3 or 4 guys, and they came out from behind the bushes, and I stopped, and they stared. Those are for us. Apartment number 114. That'll be 2582. And I had the pizza box up here because it was dark out. But the next thing I knew, I was on the ground and I had been kicked, and he had a gun. And he grabbed my shirt. And there was pizza. There was pizza all over the ground. And the money and the jalapenos and the pizza, they were falling like snowflakes. Well, I rolled over and over. And they ran, and he slipped in the sauce, and I reached for my ankle, and he grabbed his gun and aimed, and I shot, "You son of a bitch!" died in less than 30 minutes.
Way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you one way or another. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you. I'll get you.
Well, I hope you don't think I give a flying cuss. Go ahead, rip out another few yards of red tape. You're only slowing me down a bit. What does time matter? It's only gonna make it all the more enjoyable when I track down that bleeding heart liberal son of a bitch. Get face to face with the little peckerhead. But sure, go ahead, snap away. Quicker you do your job, quicker I can do mine. I mean, how long can you really hope to hold me for trespassing? Where I come from, you settle it amongst yourselves. Someone comes on your land, you tell them get the hell off it. And they do it! None of this waste of good tax money, big city politics. Call out the guys with the guns and badges over a little difference of opinion. A man ought to be able to stand up for what's his without y'all getting involved. Just let me take that jerk know-it-all out in the parking lot for 5 minutes, and this will all be over, and we can get on with our lives. But no! He's surrounded by more security than the president of this great land. Well, it's no wonder the stuff that little weasel stirred up. I'm probably at the end of a long line of ass whippings he has coming. And rightfully so, pencil-neck little jaybird. Always whining about some stupid cause that he don't know jack about. That white hair and that little lift. Who? Phil Donahue, that's who! You know, the man who was America's conscience from 2 to 3 Central all those years? He's the bastard who started all this psychoanalytical daytime crap. You see, where I come from, it's okay to have a wife who will keep your house clean, cook you a good meal every night. It's the way it's always been. It's good enough for my mom and daddy, and theirs before that. What's wrong with that now? It's a way of life. People are content with that. Hell, you could even say comfortable, happy, living a decent family life. But Phil doesn't get it. Living in some mansion with that girl. People waiting on him hand and foot. I'll bet you Marlo don't have dishpan hands. And then he and his little toadies get on the box and act like they understand life in these United States. Well, Phil ain't got a clue. He don't know what it's like to haul freight for Yellow Transit for 12 hours a day for 22 years. He claims to have all the answers, but he's just screwing up people's lives. You see, a couple years ago, my wife got laid off down at the GM plant, and she suddenly found Phil. Now she says that I've been choking her full potential to be the woman that she's been hiding inside for years. That she might be a lawyer or a surgeon or discover a cure for cancer if it weren't for me. Damn it, she can't even balance a checkbook. But Phil's daughter believing she's gonna be the next Madam Curry. It was all fine till he pointed that out to her. Why do these people have the right to come into my living room, profess to know what's best for my family, start pushing all their little buttons, and screwing up our perfectly normal lives? Oh, I take that show and I watched it. Phil, Sally, Springer, Maury, Montel, Jenny, Ricky, or Rolando, or whatever her name is. Oh no, I like Oprah. But the rest of them act like they got all the answers when there's no problem to begin with. Hell, I think it was safer to watch Jim and Tammy. At least you knew they were idiots at a glance. But these others, hook, line, and sinker. Damn it, it's just a TV show, for God's sake. They act like they have a license to counsel the American mind. How can this go on? And then nothing's ever solved. Nothing positive ever happens. People get on and they talk and they talk and they argue and they bicker. There's a few commercials and everything's left up in the air as the credits roll. And we buy it! America buys it! People get all worked up over some issue they never thought about in the first place, and because Phil said it, it came down from the mountain written in stone. Phil said this, Phil said that. Well, I'm gonna find that little shit and I'm gonna say a few things to him he can take to the bank and draw interest on. And then I'm gonna lay him out flat on his back so he don't get up for 3 days. Then I'll go back home and start over on what used to be a moderately happy life, up until the day he started invading my territory. You see, he's the one guilty of trespassing. What'll it solve? Well, I'll feel a hell of a lot better. That's what'll solve. Maybe Phil can do a show about the joy of beating the living hell out of someone who can't mind his own damn business. Damn it! My wife left me. She took the kids. She moved in with her mother. Now she's filing for divorce. Thank you, Phil. Let me see your license practice. Oh, I'm gonna find him. Yes, sir, I'll find him. And you know what? After I'm done with him, I think I'll find that Dr. Ruth woman, that sawed-off little midget bitch. I'm gonna slap her into next week.
Oh, promise me that someday you and I can take our love together to the sky, where we can be alone and faith renew, and find the hollows where these flowers grew. Oh, promise me, oh, promise me.
Hello. How are you? My name is Norman. Norman Kramer, 2250 Breezewood Way. A proud, law-abiding citizen for 75 years. Did they tell you why I was here? Oh, I don't mind telling you. I just did what I had to do. Actually, what my wife told me to do. Wasn't easy, but I had to respect her decision. When my Annie was making up her mind about something, you damn well better do it. Otherwise, you'll never hear the end of it. Now, when I was younger, I used to stand up to her. But after 53 years, you learn it's a hell of a lot easier just to give in. 53 years. Can you believe that? You youngins these days are lucky if you're married for 53 minutes. What's the matter with your generation anyway? No commitment, no discipline. When a relationship seems to fail or die, you let it. Instead of trying to figure out ways to keep it alive like my Annie and I did. Unfortunately, cancer isn't something you can anticipate. May I show you a picture of my Annie? I think you'd like her. She's a beautiful lady. See? Annie could do everything. She cooked, cleaned, raised a wonderful family. Not only that, she was one hell of a golfer. Boy, she was a real competitor. You know, Annie would refuse to tee off from the ladies' tee. No kidding. Had to be the men's tee, or she wouldn't play. She was a fighter, that one. I guess this last fight was just a little bit too much. Wish there's something we could have done. Sure going to be lonely around here without her. The walks, the talks, the card games of Kings on the Corner, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. Oh, she was good at that Wheel of Fortune. You know, I don't mean to be self-centered, but bills nowadays, expensive? I haven't paid any in over half a century. My wife took care of all that. Well, family will probably keep their eye on it for me now. I got wonderful kids. They think it was the right decision, too. See, think I'll have to be here long? I got to get back to the mall and finish my walk. Oh, Dr. Benash told me I got to keep up my exercise. We both thought he's a wonderful man. He liked Annie, too. He had her hooked up to all these tubes with the drugs going through to help ease her pain. What did he call that? Fentanyl. He even pointed out the knob that would increase the dosage. But I don't want to get him in any trouble. He told me not to touch that. But he wasn't the one lying there in pain. Well, there's nothing he could do, nothing any of us could do. We all knew she was going to die. We just didn't know when. Could be hours or days or maybe a week. So last night when the nurse left the room, Annie called me over and said, "Norman, it's time." See, we discussed this problem and possibility before, but I never figured I'd actually have to go through with it. She knew I got kind of squeamish about that sort of thing because of what happened to me when I was a young'un. When I was a young'un, my mother wanted me to get rid of a rabbit that was eating up all the vegetables out of her garden. So I got out my brother's pellet gun and I shot it. Problem was the rabbit didn't die. It just laid there and looked at me. It was in a lot of pain. I knew I had to finish the job, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. So I ran inside and got my older brother Mike to come out. I figured he'd be able to handle this better than me. He looked at the rabbit and he said, "Norman, I'm not going to do your dirty work for you. You're going to have to kill it. Shoot it. Shoot it." Well, after a look of disgust, he took the gun away from me and he killed the rabbit. And he said, "Norman," he says, "never start something you can't finish." And he went back in the house and I was mad. Boy, I was angry. Well, I thought about it for a moment and I realized he's right. You see, the rabbit was at peace. And so was my Annie. Well, I've taken up enough of your time. I know you've got a job to do, and well, we all got to do what we got to do. You've still got a few people back there, haven't you? You're a very nice person. Well, I'm ready. Oh, it's okay. You can take the picture. What'll I do with only dreams of you that won't come true? What'll I do?
Attention Kmart shoppers, we got a blue light special going on over in women's apparel for another 15 minutes.
Eddie! Eddie, you get away from that hooker!
My name is Norma Jean Wheeler, and I live at 1422 North Elm Street, and I am married, and I'm 48 years old, and I got 2 kids, and I'm so embarrassed. I ain't never been arrested before. My husband is just gonna kill me when he hears about this. Do you suppose that you and I could just keep this between ourselves? Oh. I am so sorry. I was sure I was supposed to tell you all that stuff. I bet I've seen it on TV. Perry Mason, maybe? Or an old Andy Griffith? Do you suppose Aunt Bee has ever been arrested? I mean, she is just the sweetest person I know. Don't you just love her? Of course, it must be easy to be sweet if you live with Andy and little Opie. Oh, I just want to hug him every time I see him. He is just the cutest thing. I mean, I wish my family was just real sweet and easy to take care of. They're just such a chore. There's Big Ed, my husband. Why should I worry about what Big Ed has to say about this? He has been in jail himself. Twice. Once was just for running a gambling parlor down at the stockyards, but once was for mail fraud. Can you imagine how embarrassing? Mail fraud. He had his picture in the post office and everything. He had this big idea. He's going to run an ad in that magazine. Just a minute, I'll think of it. Soldier of Fortune magazine, that's it. He promised those idiot survivalists that if they send him money, he would send them cyanide capsules, you know, so they'd be ready for the big one. So there's Ed stuffing Tylenol gel caps in the envelopes with our real home address on them, the stupid son of a bitch. I want to warn you, those survivalists are not someone that you want pissed off at you. I was afeared for our lives. We had to move. It appears that a couple of those idiots popped those capsules to test them, and then they were just real disappointed that they didn't drop dead. And then there's my boy, little Eddie. He is not much smarter than his dad. In fact, it is his fault that I'm here. Well, we were at the Kmart. Of course, the kids and I were at the Kmart. You don't suppose Big Ed would take the kids for a couple hours, do you? No. The kids and I are at the Kmart, and I heard this blue light special for those darling polyester blouses to die for, and I got my hand on an orange and fuchsia lily number 2. Just wonderful. And I heard this big commotion over in the sporting goods department, and I look around and I don't see my kids, so I haul ass over to the sporting goods department. And there is little Eddie, of course. He has snuck in behind the counter, took a BB gun and loaded it up with shot, put his sister in a Ninja Turtle outfit, put her on a big wheel, and gave her a 20-second head start across the store. Then he jumps on a huffy bike and pedals out after her, commencing fire. Well, he didn't hit her, but he did take out 2 tropical fish tanks. I had to spend $72.95 for 14 dead guppies in assorted colors. I was so mad. I beat their butts right there in the Kmart in front of God and everybody. Eddie, because he deserved it. And stupid little Edie, because she went along with the plan. Then they announced there's only 60 seconds left on that blue light special. And you know how big them Kmarts are. So I jumped on the Huffy bike and pedaled back across the store. I couldn't believe it. That orange number was still there. And I just had my hand on it, and some big old heifer starts a tug of war. I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what come over me. It must have been little Eddie's escapade, because I just lost my sweet disposition. I hit her right in the nose, knocked her clean across the aisle into this great big display of Kotex sanitary paper. And they come tumbling down around her like the walls of Jericho. Of course, it was probably a soft landing, what with the merchandise and her big fat butt. You know, the important thing is, I got that blouse. It cost me $92.95, but I got that blouse.
I talk to the trees, but they won't listen to me. I talk to the stars, but they never hear me. The breeze hasn't time to stop and hear what I say. I talk to them all in vain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right here? This is very new to me. I mean, I've never been in any kind of trouble before. But there comes a time when a person has to stand up for their beliefs. I get a phone call, don't I? Gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just sort of nervous. I need some time for it to sink in. I never thought in a million years I'd wind up here. It's so embarrassing. What will my friends and family say? Wait a minute. Who cares? The truth of the matter is that I'm proud of myself. That seems kind of odd, doesn't it? But I am proud of myself. It's a human life. It's my body. Someone has to stand up for human rights. Plain and simple, basic human rights.
Of course, I never should have gone physical. But the emotions were very high.
Of course I never should have slapped the man. But that mob had me boxed in. The emotions were very high.
You understand? Well, don't you?
Look,
Sorry. I guess you're one of them.
Look, I certainly didn't mean to break the lobby window. God, I don't even remember picking up the brick. But damn it, they're murdering lives in there. And abortion is a murder.
Look, I certainly had a right to be there. I had an appointment.
I'm not a violent person. I lead a normal, average life. But those people, so angry, pushing and shoving and pushing, and those signs in my face.
And their crude remarks.
And their filthy mouths. My God, they're trying to save lives. I can't believe those people don't get the point. Why don't they see how irrationally they behave? They just don't have any common sense. It's plain and simple. It's a human life.
There are plenty of people who would be happy to adopt those babies. There are thousands of orphans and
for children. Don't you think it's hard enough for somebody to make this decision? It's not like I flipped a coin, heads thumbs up, tails thumbs down. I've spent hours fighting myself over this. I mean, I really want to be a mother someday. Just not now. Not in this situation. I believe my decision is the best for everyone involved. Yes, including it. Damn it, I have thought long and hard about this. I have the right to choose this.
Just who's going to speak up for the unborn children? Shouldn't they have a voice in the matter? God created this miracle of life. No human has the right to take it. I wanted to have children of my own, but I can't. So, my husband and I, we adopted 2 wonderful little boys. Every time I look at them, I think, what if they had been aborted?
What's wrong with the lawmakers of this country? It's as clear as a bell what should be done.
What?
Oh. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Right here?
How embarrassing. Listen, I'm sorry for going on about it. I know it doesn't do a bit of good. I may as well talk to the wall. Those people are never going to listen.